Peace.
Okay, we're on.
It's not fine now, I got it.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Start with pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, guys. Good evening, everyone. Sorry we're running a little late. We had an executive session to discuss personnel issues. With that, I'd like to recognize any resident or taxpayer wishing to address the board about title programming or any other concern raised in public session.
There were none turned in via call or email to Tammy today.
Okay. And we'll move to recommend the board approve the minutes of the March 22nd, 2021 meeting as presented in Exhibit A.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Instruction, Mrs. Agnew.
Yeah, as reference, we have our curriculum instruction committee meeting on August the 12th, 2021 at 5:30 in the high school library. We just had one on the 8th. We're only having one every quarter now.
That's correct.
We just pretty much went over the professional day, development days.
We talked about the brainstorming of professional development, where we are in curriculum right now in the pilot program for the elementary school for social studies. We updated everybody on the team about the number of students that are in SOLA, those that have transitioned back to in-person, and plans for the future. Yeah.
Right.
And we also talked about some of the data coming out of the elementary school.
Okay? Okay. Next, for scholarships, I'd like to make a motion that the board approve an Education Management and Staffing Solutions, ESS, Educators Award Scholarship. This award scholarship will be awarded annually. That's a motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
And next, I'd like to make a motion to recommend the board approve the laprino Food SARE Scholarship to be awarded to a 2021 SARE High School graduate. That's a motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, conferences next. I'd like a motion to recommend the board retroactively approve James Howie to attend the 2021 PDE Data Summit virtually on March 22nd to the 24th, 2021. No cost to the district. The motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, I'd like to make a motion to recommend the board approve James Howie to attend the restorative practices training on June 14th to the 15th, 2021 at a cost of $200 to be paid by the district. The motion.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend the board approve Krista Leonard to attend the 2021 annual PSLA Conference Discover Your Superpower virtually on April 16th to the 17th, 2021 at a cost not to exceed $250 to be paid by the district. Motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend the board approve Regina Edgerton to attend the virtual suicide prevention for schools conference on April 20th, 27th, and May 4th, 2021. No cost to the district. Motion.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend the board approve Cherie Hunt to attend the Wilson Reading System Intro Course virtually on June 7th to the 9th, 2021, at a cost not to exceed $1,000 to be paid by the district. It's a motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Have a roll call, please.
We'll begin with Mrs. Agnew.
Yes.
Mr. Bentley?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yeah.
Mr.
I roll call for you.
Yeah.
He roll call for you though.
Oh,
Sure.
my mistake. I don't think I have to abstain for that one, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I don't think I have to abstain for this, right?
Yeah, you do.
Okay. I abstain.
If she was a volunteer, you wouldn't have to, but since she's
But she's,
a paid,
Oh, this is for the
Wilson
cost of the district. Sorry about
Okay,
that.
Mr. Cole said yes. Mr. Hickey?
Yes.
Mr. Skirkon?
Yes.
Ms. Wayman? Yes. Mr. Christian?
yes.
okay? Next, I'd like to recommend the board approve Sarah High School students attend Valley Exceptional Athlete Day at Athens Area High School on May 21st, 2021, at a cost not to exceed $100 to be paid by the district.
Second.
This is an event that's to replace, or kind of in lieu of, Special Olympics. The Valley, some of the special educators in the Valley got together and put this together, so.
We have to amend it though and fix it. It's Sarah High School and Snyder.
Yes. I received the
and
information
Snyder,
today
okay.
for Snyder,
Make that
so,
amendment.
and Snyder.
So we have a motion, we have a second,
Yep.
and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, just for information, SASD will host Kristen Schweiger for a clinical education experience in speech-language pathology fall 2021 in accordance with the affiliation agreement between the Sarah Area School District and Misericordia University. I think that's all.
All right. Thank you very much, Mrs. Agnew. Athletics and Recreation, Ms. Wayman.
So not to, I gotta take us a little bit off the agenda. I was getting a message that the agenda's not out there for our viewers at home. Do we know, was the agenda not posted? Or
I would have thought that it would have gone to the website today. Tammy has it on her list every Monday of the board meeting, so.
I thought so.
you did see it out there? Okay, just so our viewers at home know that it is out on the website then?
So our agenda is out on the website.
Okay, all right, thank you. So athletics and recreation, committee meeting will be held May 13th, beginning at 6:30 in the high school library. We did meet this past week. Lots of things happening with athletics and recreation. Just a few things that we talked about on this, last agenda. Spent quite a bit of time talking about Northeast Bradford and a cooperative agreement with them for boys soccer. So, work being done behind the scenes, gonna come back to the board, once they work through some details with the athletic committee's recommendation on that, but wanted to make the board aware that, there is some interest from our coach as well, and making this happen to give the kids the opportunity to play. So more to come on that. Girls soccer, again, for our viewers at home, we are looking for a girls soccer coach. So if anybody knows of anyone that is interested in coaching soccer, we would like to get them vetted and get an interview with them, because we really do want to keep that program going and get a coach in place. Talked about junior high baseball. So they are going to do some skill drills through the next few months. Numbers are low for junior high baseball. So really trying to get those numbers back up, get the kids that are interested, still keeping them interested, still keeping them engaged in the program, and hoping that we can pick up some more kids for that program to keep Family ID, so registrations are open for family ID, for the fall sports, is that correct? The in-fall sports?
All three,
All
fall,
three, that's
winter, and
right.
spring.
All three sports are on there now, so you can sign up for the entire year of sports. Also exploring that for summer rec, so more to come on that, but summer rec, keep that on your radar screens. The other thing that we've been working on is trying to put some numbers behind our sport. So what do we think we need our numbers to be to keep our programs running? And what are the steps we're gonna put in place to get to those numbers? What are the steps we're gonna put in place? If we don't get to those numbers, and timelines for those, when we need to meet certain goals to get to those numbers. So a lot of discussion on that, and working with our coaches. Again, we wanna get our numbers to a spot that we can keep these sports going, but recognizing the steps we have to take to get there. Rec update, really excited about that. So again, for future to this board, I think it's the May 24th, I think it's the 24th meeting. We're expecting to have a presentation for the board on rec and what that's gonna look like. In the future, Doug All, our new athletic director, our recreation director, has been working hard on getting that program up and together, and using a lot of resources to do that. So looking forward to that presentation at the next athletic committee meeting and to the board. I think it's the 24th, I think was the date, is the next board meeting. So that's where we are from athletics. All right, so coaches, recommend the individuals listed below be approved as coaches for the fall season of 2021. Aaliyah Post, head girls volleyball coach. Kevin Gorman, head football coach. Jamie Van User, head golf coach. Randy Felt, head cross country coach. And Tina Vandermark, head cheerleading coach. And that is a motion.
So I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the coaches? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Can I separately abstain from Randy Fell?
Oh, I apologize for that.
That's all right, we don't need to, I mean,
Okay.
just, unless anybody else wants to say no, I mean, it's everybody say yes, then I'm gonna abstain, just.
Yep, we're good.
Volunteers, recommend the individual listed below be approved to volunteer for the 2021 spring season. Volunteer track coach Julia Boyle, and that's a motion.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Buildings and grounds, Mr. Hickey.
We'll have a meeting, next meeting will be on Monday, May 17th, 5:30 in the administrative conference room. Moving on to finance, we'll have a meeting tomorrow night in the library. Sure. Okay, make a motion to recommend that the bills for payment listed in Exhibit B be ratified and approved as presented. This motion.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Are we gonna keep this ladder on?
We can, or I can put it back the next time, it just came in, so it is an agreement in case we need to utilize it, if we don't currently utilize it.
All right, make a motion that the board approve the letter of agreement between Beacon Lake Behavioral Health Systems and the Sarah Area School District from July 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2021 as presented in Exhibit C. Motion.
Second. So a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And just so everybody understands, that is the correct year on that, so. I know it seems kind of odd because June 30th is coming up, but they had a little change in their agreement and wanted us to look at that. But that year is correct. So personnel, I'd like to recommend the board approve the resignation of Anne Marie Ruth. She's an administrative special education secretary. She will be resigning April 30th, 2021. She has worked for the district for the last 10 years.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just want to say, she's an outstanding employee. You miss her.
She was an outstanding employee. I was always greeted with a smile every time I came into the office. Very nice lady. Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to recommend the board approve maternity leave request for Mrs. Amanda Wagaman, effective August 18th, 2021 through January 19th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to recommend the individual listed below be approved for the 2021 musical production position, Jeffrey Paul, for set construction at a rate of $1,450.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Do you reason why this was after the fact?
Yes, all the paperwork needed to come in before he started, so I did not have that prior to the last board meeting. Yep.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to recommend the individuals listed below be granted permission to volunteer for the 2021 musical production. Alexandra Garrison and Catherine Russo as musical volunteers.
Motion.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to recommend the board approve Candy Dixon of Sarah, PA as a substitute district van driver.
Motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Policy review, Mrs. Agnew.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend the board approve the final reading of the following policies as presented in Exhibit D, A through D. That's a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to recommend the board approve the first reading of the following policies as presented in Exhibit E. That's A and B. That's a motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Community relations, Mr. Cole.
Thank you, Mr. Caprini. The Community Relations Wellness Committee will be meeting May the 11th at 6:30 p.m. up in the high school library. I don't know if I mentioned this the last meeting or not, but Gianna Caprini, Josh Wilson, Dylan Sack, winners of the annual Rotary Essay Contest. We want to congratulate them. I think Mr. Handrick mentioned that in his notes last meeting, but give them a congratulations. Class of 2023 selling coaches pizza for a fundraiser. So if you know anyone in the class or the advisor, get a pizza for $10 at coaches. So that's good. Also want to congratulate Hannah Green and also Emma Richmond. They're on the way to Forensics Nationals. Emma first in humorous interpretation, and Hannah second in original oratory during her district competition. So we want to say congratulations them. Thanks to Sarah Public Library and the Youth Services Director for their Easter basket book deliveries to the backpack students over at Snyder. And also, we want everyone to discover the Sayre School District's May 15th. Discover the Sayre School, let me start this over, because I've got two things in here, and I'll mix them up. Discover the Sayre School District, May 15th, Cuyahoga Trail Walk. We'll have more details on that. And then the foundation is having their scavenger hunt June 19th, involving the history of Sayre. You can get some of the details out on the Facebook page, and you can join as a team. So that sounds like a lot of fun. But
4 people per team.
4 people per team.
One to four.
1 to 4, okay. 1 to 4 people on a team, so.
And if you don't like the scavenger hunt, and you just want to come to the history presentation, there will be a historical presentation of the answers to the scavenger hunt by Mr. Nobles.
Great, okay. June the 19th, so, but it's out on the Facebook page, and don't forget to check out the webpage, because there's a lot of good things out there as well. And saw some neat Easter pictures out there as well. That's everything I have, Mr. Dupree.
All right, Mr. Cole, thank you very much. Satterley Creek, Mrs. Agnew?
Yes, we're just starting to open up. We're actually, like this past Saturday, we had a birthday party there. But this Saturday, we're gonna have spring cleanup for anybody that's interested. We're gonna have some Boy Scouts, I guess, come up and help us out too, from 9 till noon. We just kind of go around and do spring cleanup, go through the trails, get some of the branches off and out of the yard so we can start mowing whenever that happens and stuff like that. So anyone interested is welcome to come up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Agnew. For technology, our next committee meeting will be held Monday, May 17th, 2021, in the administrative conference room. And let's see, the last thing is a discussion on the return to sports guidelines for spring.
So I just wanted to share with the board the return to sports. We updated based on the motion that was made at the last board meeting to update that document. So we wanted to provide the information that we followed through on that motion. Okay?
Thank you very much, Dr. Delosio. Any other discussion on that? All right, principals report. Mrs. Brown?
We'll swing it that way, since this seems to be the place to be. Good evening, everybody. I have some numbers to report for you with regard to enrollment. Our total in-person enrollment is 461. We have 66 students between SOLA and remote, with 20 of them in K-6 being SOLA, and 46 of them being remote students, for a total enrollment of 527. The mobile dentists, we're very excited, returned to Snyder Elementary School this week. We're glad to have the kids take part. It helps keep them in school instead of having to leave and return for the dentist in that whole verification process, so things are going very well. We continue our EdInsight grade level benchmark testing. Dr. Delosio and I in curriculum met last week and talked about the kids' results as they move through their BAS testing. We've seen quite an improvement on the students moving towards their final benchmark or their goal where they need to be at the end of their grade level, so we're very pleased with that. Also very pleased with our kindergarten first and second graders as they move through with their letter recognition skills, their sound recognition skills, and their sight words. So we'll continue to keep going. We have until May for our final benchmarking, so we look forward to those results. We're also planning and preparing for our upcoming coaching session with Dr. Manga for 3 days in May to keep continuing our path towards guided reading. Hope I'm not letting the cat out of the bag with this one. Had some exciting news. 4 of our Girl Scouts in the NIPEN Pathways received an award for their Girl Scouts badge that they earned. They did some work at the Animal Care Sanctuary, helped cleaning the cages and things, made some adoption bags to be sent home, so we're very proud of them. Amelia Mitchell, Rhea Rollins, Olivia Homer, and Sophia Van Dyke, with also a little certificate they'll receive at their Girl Scout presentation when that comes. So sorry if I wasn't supposed to share that, but I figured the announcement was there, and we'll go with it. And finally, I just want to take my hat off as an employee of Sarah School District and put it on as a parent, and thank the board very much. Two of my children have gone through school here and taken ACE courses, and all of their ACE courses have transferred into the colleges that they're going to go to. Both Mansfield and Elmira College, where Alyssa's looking at, are very willing to accept all those gen ed credits. So as a parent, I appreciate those, and even more so as this year Corning was free tuition for the kids. So I do thank you for that. Hopefully, fingers crossed, my son, because of those courses, is going to be able to graduate a year early. So that saves a bunch of money. So just thank you very much for offering those courses here at the high school. I appreciate that as a parent.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Morel.
You're welcome.
Mr. Hendrick?
I can't even tell where to fit you.
Well, if you stand where I stand, you're good.
To start over, or to jump off from what Michelle was saying, this summer, junior and senior students can take online courses for free through the Corning Community College. They're offering Essentials of Art, MS Office, Intro to Organic and Biochemistry, Intro to Criminal Justice, Computer Essentials, and Principles of Economics.
And that was not planned. I had no idea he was going to say
No,
that.
that was number 2. I just decided it was a good segment. As Aaron mentioned earlier, athletic signups for next year are open. It's really critical, and we're encouraging families to sign up as early as they can so that we can make the best decisions we can for opportunities for our kids. So I really encourage everybody to get enrolled through Family ID as soon as they can. Anybody needs help, call Mrs. Abbey. She will walk anybody through what they need to do. We're continuing to work on changes to the high school schedule. Dr. Deloz, you and I meet together at least probably once or twice a week, and with teachers and our guidance counselor probably another 2 to 3 times a week, but we're making good progress on that. Student council, if you see behind you, sponsoring a kindness campaign this week, April 12th to the 15th. Week-long campaign will allow teachers to catch students in the act of showing kindness and compassion to those around them. They get tickets, they drop them in a raffle bag for a chance to win some good prizes. So a huge thank you to Mrs. Grudza, Mr. Kinsley, and the students and student council for organizing this event. Student council president, Alyssa Morel, and the senior class president, Olivia Bentley, along with myself, are participating in a virtual town hall with Representative Tina Pickett tomorrow, and that was set up through PSBA. FBLA has a floor hockey tournament this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. here at the gym. As Aaron said, we have talked to Northeast Bradford a little bit about a co-op for our soccer team, boys soccer. And I spoke to Mr. Holmes again today about that, and he's been very flexible and willing to work. Our enrollment, we're 337 in person, 75 virtual, and 56 solo students. It stayed relatively consistent. And the last thing that I have for tonight is a huge thank you to Mrs. Vaughn, Mrs. Gillette, all of our cast and crew. If you didn't get a chance to see Shrek this weekend, you missed a great one. She did a great job casting. The kids worked so hard. I had at least 4 or 5 people when I was here on Saturday, and just in a short period, came up to me and said, "Thank you so much for letting us have this." It was touch and go. There were a few times where we were like, "Oh my gosh, if we have to shut this down, what are we risking?" But I really think the kids were so happy that we were able to pull it off, do it in person. I know it was limited in person, but it really meant a lot to the community. Even I had a number of community members that aren't connected to the school anymore that came back and just said, "It's nice to get out of the house and come to something, so thank you." So that was we took a risk, but I think it paid off, and I'm glad we did it. So I appreciate everybody's support with that and letting us do that. So, and I know the kids and Mrs. Vaughn and Mrs. Gillette are happy as well. So that's it. And your daughter was amazing.
Thank you, Mr. Hendrick. Last, Mrs. Eichmann.
Pretty much the same thing as Mrs.
NTCC report, Mr. Cole.
Thank you, Mr. Petrini, and boy, Mr. Hickey's gonna love this, because I forgot my cheat sheet today. So I can tell you that I'll be meeting, with the group on April the 15th, but also on the lines of what Mrs. Morel was saying, as well as Mr. Hendrick. Just want to make mention too of how important dual credit courses are down there. That a lot of the students do take the dual credits with Penn College, and it's saved hundreds of thousands of dollars, believe it or not, to a host of families within the 9 school districts. I might have added one, I might have taken away one there, but I just also want to say thank you to the folks down there for making the effort to do that for our youngsters. So that's everything for the NTCC, so I'll keep going. TSBA is next, and again, speaking of Representative Tina Pickett, I did address her just recently about the reforms bills and the funding for charter schools. And again, I did get a response, and I appreciate her responding back to me, and it was a handwritten note, so I appreciate that. I did send a letter down to Senator Yaw, no surprise, she still hasn't responded. That was about a month ago. Pandemic funding rules and regulations methods. The seminar that they had on that last week, you can check it out on mypsba.org if you wanted to find out more about the funding and the regulations as far as how you can use federal funds here in the district. This Thursday is the monthly exchange for all the school board directors at 12:30 p.m. on Thursday. And just want to make a comment. I think everybody got this. It's the Pennsylvania State of Education 2021. Just a couple of comments here. Hate to say this, folks, but the negatives outweigh the positives. But according to the booklet, the largest challenge was navigating the pandemic, especially with the guidance from the government continually changing how to run things as far as keeping everyone safe and healthy. Cyber school census is on the increase. We didn't know that already, which means increasing costs on the local level for this year, possibly next year, hopefully not big numbers. And also challenges, one of the top challenges is going to be addressing the regression for academics as well as the budgeting in 22-23. That's according to the survey. But as far as positives, 1.7 million students have stayed in school with all the changes, and again, thanks to our administrators, our teachers, and school staffs throughout Pennsylvania. You guys deserve a lot of credit. Thank you so much. Districts are adjusting to academic regression thanks to training and support for virtual learning as well as technical devices they claim should be helping students become better literate with computers and programs. So a couple of positives in there as well. But again, check it out, lots of statistics, and I wish there would be more positive in here than negatives. That's about what I can say for this state of the education report. Other than that, that's it, Mr. Petrini.
All right, Mr. Cole, thank you very much. You know, one thing that, I know it was a negative for most of the districts throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, but I think they can learn a thing or two from Sarah School District. We did a great job navigating the pandemic, and it's been phenomenal. We've kept our kids in school longer than most other school districts could even think of keeping their kids in school. So thank you guys so much for all your hard work and diligence through this crazy time. I'd also like to thank the principals for, I spoke to the local magistrate today. I know a couple of meetings ago I talked about truancy, and he's pleased with not the fact that we have a lot of kids missing school, but pleased with the fact that we're staying on top of it and doing what we need to do. So thank you guys very much for that. And that's all I have. Dr. Delosio.
So before I give my report, I did ask Dr. Tejan to share and update the board with special ed information and any grant information. So she's prepared for that tonight. Go ahead.
So in the world of special education, just a couple of highlights. So we are planning for extended school year for students who qualify for that and have significant cognitive disabilities. So that will be July 5th through July 29th. So you know, as a family, will be hearing from the district within the next couple of weeks or so, if you do have a child that qualifies. The Pennsylvania Alternate System of Assessment, they have extended their testing window as well as for the pssa. So that testing window has been extended until April 30th. In terms of grants, 21st Century After School Program, we are currently being monitored for that. So each district that participates has to be monitored one time within the first 3 years of the grant. So we were lucky enough to be chosen this year. So Mrs. Zimmer and I are working with the site coordinators at each of the sites to gather all of that information, and that will take place later this month. Other grant information. So recently submitted a grant to the Highmark Foundation. That was for the Second Step Anti-Bullying Program. So that would serve K to 5 students at the elementary school. So we're hopeful to receive that. The other highlight, so we did have a 2-year grant through the Pennsylvania Crime and Delinquency Organization for the Office of Safe Schools. That was a 2-year grant initially, and that's actually how we have Officer Flynn with us. So that was I just put in a request to have that extended for 3 years to use some of those funds that we were not able to use during the pandemic. So waiting to hear back on that. And that's all I have.
All right, Dr. Tejan, thank you very much.
So I have a few things that I'd like to share. I'll second what Mr. Cole and many other members of the board had said, as well as Mr. Handrick on Shrek. Mr. Claypool's son was one of the main characters, playing Lord Farquaad, I believe, and he did an outstanding job, along with all the other students. So I just want to shout out to Mrs. Vaughn and her entire team. Well done, and all the recognition that comes along with it is well deserved for all the work and time that she put into it. Along with that, this is the first year that we live streamed our event, and that would not have happened without Jesse Short, a member of the Quest Tech team, doing a lot of work outside of his wheelhouse. That's not a part of his wheelhouse. Live streaming, I guess, is its own entity beyond that, and so between he and Mr. Handrick and the hours that they put in after hours to make sure that that went off without a hitch was much appreciated, so that families, whether they're far away or just didn't come in due to the pandemic, could watch from home on their smart TV, their phone, or their computer, however they wanted to view that. So it was nice that they were able to do that, so thank you for putting that time in to make that happen. I wanted to update the board on the number of school days. Mr. Cotrini, I don't think knew that was a part of my report, but he had said that earlier in his report. So far today is the 142nd day of school this school year, and we have had 4 closures due to weather, 4 remote days due to weather, and two delays. But for COVID, we had 1 closure in October, and we made that day up. We've had 4 district remote days due to COVID, 13 at the high school, additionally, beyond that 4, and 3 at Snyder, all due to COVID. So when you look at that information, Snyder has been able to have 135 in-person days, minus those weather days, and the high school has been able to have 125 in-person days, minus those weather days. That is certainly due to the protocols and processes, the educators, the support staff, all the work that they're doing to make sure that we can maintain in-person instruction for our kiddos. So, wasn't done without a lot of hard work and effort by every member of our team to make it happen. So I wanted to share that information with the board. I am more than pleased that we can say that we've been in school that many days. At the beginning of the year, I would not have predicted that number, but I'm happy to say that we're close. We have a little over 30 days left to the school year, so I'm hoping that every one of them will be in person. All right. And just to update the board from the state level, PSSA and Keystones, they've extended the window for us until September 30th to give the assessment, holding it off over the summer and using those vital instructional days at the beginning of the year. We're not going to do, we're going to have it at the end of May, giving teachers a little more time to get through their curriculum, feel that they're comfortable with it. So the students will be taking those assessments in the latter part of May. The principals will be sending out the schedule. They'll also be sending invitations to those remote learners so that they can come in, as well as our solo learners so that they can come in and take the assessment as well. Okay, that's all I have, Mr. Petrini.
All right, Dr. Delosio, thank you very much.
Sure.
Does anybody else have anything?